welcome back. Now, Jason, you mentioned earlier that Indonesia has a massive potential of becoming the Southeast Asia's digital powerhouse. What will it take? What will it take for Indonesia to get there?
So I think, you know, skills, engineering, coding, all of these things are the backbone of this economy, of the digital economy. And
talents,
talent is a really, you know, super important one, as pretty much any startup will tell you. So, you know, at Google we also have programs that are helping, you know, helping beginners learn coding. We have a program called Indonesia Android Kejar, which is basically a workshop that uses online tools in conjunction with on-site facilitators to help people, whether they're, you know, students or housewives or people looking for a new job, to reskill and learn these things. And so we've seen already a few thousand go through these, and more than like 20% are women, right?
Wow.
So one of our goals is also to make sure more women are participating in the digital economy as well, right? Because right now it's very male dominated. And so, and what we noticed also is that with women participating in these workshops, more than 90% complete these courses. So it's higher than the men.
Rate. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the completion rate is higher for women, right? Because so I think, you know, once we sort of empower it, because they're half of the economy as well, right?
Yeah.
So let's not forget that. So, and once you unleash the creativity of what women have in their minds and what the problems they think need to be solved, right? Because it's not about going out there and, you know, finding an angel investor or finding funding, right? First, you have to have a great idea that's solving an important problem, right? So there's plenty of problems to be solved, right? So I think, you know, we want to make sure that people, once they do identify some area that they think needs their attention, that they have the skills to do it, right? So at the beginner level, we have that. We've also we're translating all of the Udacity courses. Udacity is a computer science, online computer science learning program. We're translating that into Indonesian, so anybody can access it online. And we're also starting to incorporate these curriculums into universities. So ITB, Gajah Mada, BINUS, President University, a bunch of universities who are going to incorporate this for their computer science students in the last year of their undergraduate education, right? So they can learn it there, right? So we have another program for like mid-stage startups. We send them to Mountain View, to our headquarters, to learn for 2 weeks, give them $50,000, and they come back. And then 6 months of training here in Jakarta so they can learn. And these guys like are building their community, right? And the nice thing about the startup community you see is there's a lot of collaboration. They give back to each other, right? They share information. It's competitive, but they also realize that they're sort of in this together and they can learn a lot from each other. So it's nice to see a community grow out of this kind of organically, right? Because the problems that you may have as a startup is probably a problem someone's already had, right? Google's had a lot of problems, you know, teething problems in the beginning, so we can share a lot about, you know, how to make your user interface look better, do your user experience better, your marketing better, your business development better, all these things. So we're trying to share best practices.
Not necessarily have to invent a new wheel, but reinvent. But while we're on the subject of problem and talent, because Nadiem Makarim, CEO of Gojek, yesterday had a very good quote when it says, when you go to startup, it's because you want to solve a problem, but not to. He's not in it for the money, because it's going to be a rough ride. Right. So now my question for you is, on your observation about this community that takes up coding and startup, do you feel that they're in it for that, or is there, they see an incentive up in the future? Financial return, perhaps, so they see that down the line this is going to make a lot of profit for me. Your perspective on that? You
know, I don't know what goes to. I don't have a startup, so I don't know what goes to the mind of every startup. But obviously, there are some people who think it's a very sexy thing now to have a startup, to start up per se, right? But a startup doing what? Right. So
that's the big question,
right? Like, so if your goal is to get it because I want to do a startup because it's sexy and I want to make money, the chances are you're not going to succeed, right? But if you go in and you identify some particular problem like traffic, you know, something like that, you solve it, the upside is going to be huge, right? So I think, I think there's, and it's not just traffic that's a problem. There's in education, there's so many people doing great things around education, health, right? There's so many things that need to be dealt with in the health sector. So think about like how all of these things can be revolutionized when someone has the right idea and the right tools to put them together. And I think the money will come naturally. Right? Once people see like, oh yeah, that's a really important problem, and you guys actually have taken it head on, and tech brings so much to something that maybe hasn't been solvable for many years, and suddenly like the tech enables this type of change, right? So I think that's what clearly what mobile is enabling. That's what the whole digital economy is about: solving problems with technology, right? And creating certain efficiencies and eliminating old ways of doing things. So, I'm definitely optimistic.
Yeah, companies such as Grab, Uber, Gojek, Traveloka, MatahariMall.com. These are good examples of how problems, daily problems, are being taken care by startup companies, for instance. So talent, payment, internet infrastructure, which I know the government is currently working on. Logistics infrastructure, obviously this helps as well. Consumer trust, can we talk a little bit about this? Because yesterday we touched a bit about consumer trust. As Nadim says, it comes within the business. It depends on what exactly do you want to do. So is this measurable, having consumer trust as one of the factor in making sure that we realize that goal by 2025?
Well, I think it is measurable. I think it depends. It depends on what we're talking about. Is it like banking transactions, credit cards? There's lots of different ways, different sectors within the trust, sphere that you can measure. But the point here is basically saying that as more people become confident shopping online, using their phones to do things online. Because I think right now there's some people who are still afraid of putting their details maybe into a phone or conducting a transaction online, right?
Which brings us to payment mechanisms.
Right, that's true too, right?
Yeah.
So I think as that's changing, things are getting easier. And if you look at things that they're making, whether it's shopping online at Matahari Mall or ordering a Gojek, right? People, once they start seeing that this is actually a safe way of transacting, then it'll just become routine way of life and doing things, right? Because credit card penetration is so low in Indonesia. I think it's like 4%, something like that, or less than 5%. It's very low, right? So that has to be solved. So people have to figure out a way so people can pay on their own terms the way they want to do it and feel safe doing it, right? So that's huge. And then once people do that, then it's like you won't need to have cash for everything, right? You can actually believe in e-money or whatever it is, right? So that's what the whole fintech space is about too, which is really exciting. They know that these opportunities in insurance and banking and all these things, right? So there's going to be a lot of great products, and there already are, like Check Aja, things like that. These guys are doing really great stuff in that space because they identified a problem, right? That plagues a lot of people, and then suddenly, but they have to create a safe architecture for people to actually want to transact on, and then once they do that, then I think it'll just like
takes off.
Yeah.
Jason, thank you so much. Now, before we go though, if members of the public or anybody who's watching wanted to have access to this report and survey and read it for themselves and understand it better, where should they go? You
can go to thinkwithgoogle.com.
Okay.
Right. So thinkwithgoogle.com is a site where we put a lot of our research, a lot of our information about how you can do this or that kind of thing, advertise, digital marketing, lots of different information. So there's 34 slides on there if they want to go. Just go to thinkwithgoogle.com, type in Temasek research, and then you'll see it on the site.
Yeah.
And you can download it.
Thinkwithgoogle.com. I think it's worth anybody, members of the public, students, executives, decision makers. I think this is a very interesting report that you want to get your hands on. Jason, thank you so much for your time here.
Great to be here.
Thank you. That has been The Perspective. I'm Florence Armein. Thank you for watching.